Hey and welcome to Discard. Today we are going to be looking at some new Rizers from Rose Colored Gaming, the name when it comes to displaying things in your game room. And we're going to be taking a look at them to see if they're over-engineered or if they're adding new features to these to make them something that really goes up and beyond what other Rizers do. Let's take a look. So to get things started, these were sent to me by Rose Colored Gaming for the purpose of review, and they are some amazing Rizers, and they spell Rizers with a Z. When I first saw these items, I definitely knew that I had to get my hands on them because I love Rose Colored Gaming and generally what they do over there to make displays kind of all match across the board and make a similar aesthetic for your entire collection if you would want that. So it's definitely unique to see them go after a bunch of figures or Pokemon cards or whatever other things you can use these Rizers for. But if you see these and you're thinking about purchasing them, definitely stay tuned for the whole video. I got a lot of pros and cons to go over and look at all the different features of these as well. So the first thing to tackle is, how do these arrive? Well, they arrive in a cardboard box and they will be in this amazing packaging. These bad boys show up looking like this, and they have a plastic outer sheet that you cut and open up, but there's layers of cardboard inside of these that are perfectly cut to the size of the components inside. So you never have to worry about these arriving to your house ever broken. And you'll see that all the little pieces of acrylic also have something that, you know, this brown paper on the outside of those, and that is when it gets into the peel fest. Because you're going to have to peel with your fingers a ton of these little sticker pieces that are on each piece of acrylic. They peel off pretty easily once you get up a little corner on there, but it does take some time. So instead of imagining yourself to get this all done in 1 second, you know, take some time, sit in front of the TV, watch a show while you're kind of peeling off these pieces one at a time. But essentially now you're gonna have to put these together, and you have the top portion, which is the portion you'll be putting items on top of, and you have the legs which go underneath and kind of link into that top portion, as well as a very long piece that is your stabilizer that kind of runs through the legs and then attaches to the top portion through those. Now here's where I had the most difficulty overall. That little stabilizer that goes through, it has these little male connectors that go into the top part, and sometimes the top hole for the upper portion is just a little too small or a little oddly shaped. And sometimes what I've done is, if it didn't fit properly, I would kind of flip it around, see if it fit the other way, or I would flip the top to the other side and try inserting it on that side. Just take your time, and once you get it together, you will be so happy that you took your time, because these things are incredible. Now there's 4 different sizes. You've got the thin top mini, you've got the wide top mini, you've got the thin top XL, and the wide top XL. And essentially, the wide tops have much wider tops. I'll put the sizes up on the screen here so you guys can see it and pause it if you need to. But you got your wide tops with the wide tops and your thin tops with the thin tops. It's as simple as that. The thin tops are going to be great for things like Amiibo or smaller figures, and your wide tops are going to be for some of your bigger figures or pops or game controllers or handhelds and that kind of thing. Now, what are these Rizers trying to accomplish? Well, they're trying to raise up your items so that you can visually see them. A lot of people, I've seen people with Amiibo just filling the bottom of a shelf, and I don't really see any point to that. You're just seeing the tops of the heads of all your Amiibo on a shelf. But with something like this, you could take these thin top Rizers and put them on there and get 3 tiers for your Amiibo and be able to see the faces and at least the chests on all of your Amiibo. The second thing that these do great is just the material that they're made out of, which is clear acrylic. Rose Colored Gaming picks out some really nice acrylic that, as far as I've had them, they haven't yellowed or caused any issues. It's a very high quality acrylic that's really gonna last forever. The cool thing about clear acrylic is that across the board, most things for displaying are made out of clear acrylic. So you can kind of match them across your collection and keep like a nice little string across your collection of that aesthetic. So that's what makes acrylic great. It's kind of the chameleon of the display world. It blends into wherever it is and makes the item the focus of the display, which is what any good display should do. Stability is something that I think that these Rizers do really well. Because they are quite tightly fit in a lot of occasions, because they have so many different supports on them, you can see these little feet that are underneath of them are placed really close to each other. You have a lot of little feet under here supporting the weight of whatever it is you want to put on top. On these wide tops, I was putting some really heavy stuff and very surprised to see no bowing happening from the acrylic. It's very impressive. On any other acrylic risers, outside of some that are incredibly thick and expensive, you're not gonna see that. So the thing that I think that these do the best out of any riser that I've ever seen since starting this channel, since starting to look for display ideas, is that these are adaptable. And what I mean by that is there's different sizes for them. There's a lot of different options you can use to kind of adapt these to your environment. And since they're so sturdy, you can put them a lot of different places. So adaptability, these get a 100% A+ rating for me. But what is the biggest feature of adaptability here? The coolest part about these is that if you notice at the very ends of any of these risers, there's these little connector hook type things, and it essentially makes it so you can hook in another riser into the mix and connect them together sideways. So essentially, if you wanted to have like half your room be a giant riser, you could do that. You just put a big counter across your room and then just keep connecting risers until you have this massive tiered display across your entire room. And I know so many people that could use something like this in their collection. They don't have very much space, they say, you know, there's not that much going on, but they have, you know, that few inches of counter space that they could utilize to kind of put some Amiibo out there, some figures out front. And since these aren't like taking up a bunch of vertical space, you could put these in front of shelves that you already have things displayed on and just be adding to an already awesome collection on top of it. I mean, in the end, it just makes a painful thing less painful, and I really like that about that feature. It shows that they know what they're actually making. They're not just making something to pump out and throw at people. They know the collectors, they know the collections. The proof is in the pudding. Other uses in adaptability is taking, you know, the wide tops and the thin tops and mixing those together. You could have a thin top in front of a wide top. You could do all sorts of mixes and matches of these to make them work really well together, and because they're all acrylic and all the same materials and shape and design, they're gonna fit together really well. That being said, the connectors on the ends only go to the same sizes, so wide tops to wide tops and thin tops to thin tops. And one cool little adaptation I found worked really perfectly, and I wasn't sure if Rose Colored Gaming went out of their way to get this size perfect, is that I have a lot of Billy bookcases, and I decided to put these kind of into one for a little bit. And then I found out that 4 of the wide top minis fit perfectly inside of a Billy bookcase from IKEA. And I would imagine that would work really well in other people's bookcases as well, but really impressive to me that they fit perfectly there. So essentially, you could take your Billy bookcase and completely convert an entire shelf into a display piece for your collection. So let's talk about some of the things that you can use these for and some of the creativeness that you can do yourself at home to use items you wouldn't necessarily think would work on these kinds of risers. The initial one I think everybody says is Amiibo, and those are gonna work really well on the thin tops. That thin top is the perfect size for the bases of the Amiibo figures, and you can get 3 tiers easily of any of your Amiibo and make a really nice display. That being said, you could use the wide tops for Amiibo as well and just kind of have them laid out in interesting ways. There's a lot of creativeness you could do with any of these sizes to really make an awesome display. One of the things that Rose Colored Gaming shows for those thin tops is Pokémon cards. They have some displays for the cased Pokémon cards that people get done, and you can display those Pokémon cards out on there. I thought it was really cool. I'd never seen anyone display cards in this fashion. But what's cool is they have these wide tops too, so you can display some really big chunky stuff out there on your countertops as well. So that could be anything from your handheld gaming devices. I do recommend you get some sort of stand for them. Rose Colored Gaming does sell stands for those devices that would work perfectly with these risers as well, but you can also get some coin stands out there that are super cheap, so you can stand them up and then put them on top of these risers and be able to see all of your handhelds in one sitting. I imagine these would work well with things like controllers, bigger figures. I mean, I put some really chunky figures on top of these, the Mario plus Rabbids figures. These things are pretty heavy and there was no bowing at all. These held up really well. And of course you could use these for displaying games themselves. You could have your games on individual display stands and then put those stands on top of the riser to make a really original display for your games, for your collection overall. But what I would encourage you guys to do is really think, you know, what's in my room that I have a bunch of that I want to display out there. It may not even be individual similar items. It may be multiple different items that you want to have tiered out there. Maybe it's a collection of like different Pokemon goods that you happen to have. Tiering things just makes it so you can see them easier, you can display them better, and it's really using your space better because it's using that vertical space as well. Even though these don't get too high off the ground, they do take up some of that vertical space, so you don't have to worry about a big, wide open area above the things that you're displaying. Now, one of the bonus things that acrylic has as well is they are kind of fiber optic-y. You can get some lighting behind them and create some really amazing displays just by messing with the light a little bit. Them being clear, the ends of them kind of light up a little bit and give you that kind of semi-fiber optic look, which is pretty cool. And to say it one more time, adaptability is really important. These come in small sizes, so you can put them into things like your cube style shelves or smaller little shelves that you have, or little coffee tables that you want to have these on. There's a lot of different places you can put them, and I think it's just very important. Now, the price ranges on these from $13.99 to $32.99, and I think that is the perfect range for what these do and how many capabilities they have. I mean, essentially, you're going to be able to display a ton of different things on top of these acrylic risers. I mean, if you were just buying this for like one Amiibo, that price may not make much sense. Maybe just go get a singular Amiibo stand for that one Amiibo, put them on a toilet paper roll or something. There's a lot of options out there. But if you're looking to display an Amiibo collection, that $13.99 is starting to look pretty good for one of those smaller thin top shelves, and that goes all the way up to the wide top XLs at that $32.99 level. So for $32.99 for the most expensive model, something that's going to hold up in your collection for a very long period of time and be able to display a lot of different things over the years that you'll be able to adapt and change and morph into whatever you want it to be, that is one heck of a nice price. But this is going to be the ultimate riser for a game collection by far. This thing knocks everything else out of the field. Unless you're having somebody completely tailor one from the ground up to make a perfect size for your collection, for everything, which is going to cost you hundreds of dollars, then you're looking at Rose Colored Gaming making the best thing, adaptable, connect them together, different sizes. It's just killing it and knocking it out of the park. When I first saw this, I didn't expect it to be so cool, but I'm glad that it ended up to have some really good engineering and not over-engineered to a point where it's just exploding and breaking in different pieces. Rose Colored Gaming did a fantastic job here to make a good piece for a general consumer to put together, put it on their shelf, and display a lot of their collection. So what do you guys think about these? After seeing this video, hearing the pros and cons, do you think this is a right fit for you? Would you rather go and purchase some more expensive risers that have less capabilities than these? Or do you think these kind of fit the bill when it comes to your collection of Amiibo or Funkos or games or any multiples of different things? Definitely let me know in the comments below. I jump down there every chance that I possibly can get to hang out with you guys. But outside of that, at the time of this video, we got 6,000 subscribers. I want to thank everybody for watching these videos from the beginning to the end. We have so many people who do that and hit the like button and do this. It's awesome. I really appreciate you guys. We have a hardcore community of people who are interested in this weird niche field of things, and I really appreciate it. I'm glad you guys enjoy it as much as I do. But outside of that, did you guys like the video today? If you did like the video, please leave a like on it. If you want to see more videos like this, please subscribe to the channel so you can see more of these videos. Hit the bell if that's something you like to do to get notified about different display ideas and game room items. We have game room tours going on all the time, and we're always taking in pictures and videos for that as well. But overall, I just hope you guys have a fantastic day today and collect what you love. And a cup of chapa labba deebie dooba. This card. Today we're going to be talking about, you got to put risers. Bad boys show up looking like this. For years, people displaying things in their game rooms have looked towards rising things above other things so that you can see those things above the other things, and you can see all your things sitting there next to your other things, and risers really do that thing.